Shut up. Stay in your lane.
Welcome to the Mind Your Own podcast with Erin Sorensen and Sausha Durkin, where we stick to sports, except when we're not.
Welcome back to another episode of the Mind Your Own podcast. I'm Erin.
I'm Sausha.
And I'm going to be really honest. We have been so prepared for the last few shows. Well, I'll take that back. The last two shows.
Yeah.
We have nothing planned at this moment.
Nope.
So for anyone who's listening is like, oh, we do put a lot of thought into it.
Oh, absolutely.
But some weeks are just easier than others.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
But I am
Definitely.
curious. Let's just start here. Tell me about your life, because as we know, you are in the process of moving. The house photos look great.
Thank you.
So how does it feel?
It's stressful. And I actually said to my husband the other day, I was like, it doesn't stop being stressful because we haven't found a house yet.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, it doesn't stop being stressful until we're physically at another location, does it? And he's like, nope.
So are
pretty
you
much.
like in the process? Obviously, you're out looking at houses.
Yeah.
How many have you looked at?
Just a handful.
Okay.
Like, we know what area of town we want to be in, our price range and all that.
Right.
But the stress of having to clean the house, that's a full-time job, by the way. I don't care how tidy of a person you are, when you have to legitimately clean every inch of your house, that's all I've done. I feel like that's all I've done for 3 weeks.
Keeping a house in
It's been 10 days.
showing order
Yes.
is a process.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've watched a show. It's based out of Australia, of all things. There's a show on Netflix, and the entire point is it's essentially, I keep kicking this table. So if anyone hears banging in the background, it's because I keep kicking the table that I'm sitting at. No, so the show's premise is that these family couples, it's two people, they can be friends, family, couple, whatever.
Yeah.
They have Airbnbs.
Okay.
And they each go and stay in their Airbnb. And of course they have a professional who comes through and looks at everything to see. And the biggest thing is always cleanliness.
Yeah.
Because there's just things you don't think of. And even stuff that a professional house cleaner misses.
Yeah.
Because it just happens.
Yeah.
It happens in a hotel.
Yeah.
So that's always
There's
the biggest thing.
Stuff that you legitimately just don't think about. First of all, we have had large dogs for a long time.
Yes. You have a big dog.
Great Danes, to be specific. Our Great Dane Gino that passed away about a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago. Big dogs slobber a lot, and big Great Danes have jowls that collect water in them. So when they shake their head, slobber goes everywhere. Ceiling, high up on the wall. I had to wipe down every single wall in our house just because there was dog slobber that you don't don't see because you live there. But then when you're hyper paying attention to everything, that's the only thing you see.
Yeah, I mean, the amount of windows and front door in our house that just have their noses and just slobber.
Yep.
There are things that if I was trying to show my house to somebody, it is not. I think it's clean.
Yeah.
Clean enough for me.
Right. Yeah.
But
exactly.
clean enough for me is very different.
Exactly.
Oh gosh, I remember. So when Kyle, my fiance, and I were looking at houses, he and I are very different. I am just a make a decision kind of person. I go with my gut. If I feel good about something, I just do it. I don't tend to overthink things. Now, with that said, I do overthink some things.
Yeah.
And the stuff I overthink is so dumb because it's comes to buying a house, I see one, I'm like, great, that looks perfect. When it comes to something teeny tiny, I overthink that one thing. But when we were looking, we knew the area. We knew we wanted to be in the Midtown area. We were kind of looking at two different neighborhoods mostly. And this one house, it was one of the first that we walked into. I loved it. And to this day, we can't find it when we go looking for it, which maybe it's a unicorn and doesn't exist.
Right.
But we walk in and I'm instantly just taken aback. It had two huge master closets, which is not common in that area.
Yeah.
And I just fell in love with this house, but he wasn't so sure. But the thing with the housing market is, especially in Omaha, they go so fast.
Yeah.
If you don't jump on it, it's gone.
Yeah.
So that house was gone before he could even wrap his head around it.
What was going on.
So by the time we ended up in the house that we are in now, we'd looked at probably, I want to say like 10 to 15 homes. I don't remember the exact number, but like I know some people who've looked at like 40 or more. Are you on the higher end or are you still
low? We're on the lower end. Like we basically like we want to stay in the same area that we're in. We have a square footage range that we would like to be in, and then we both have our like own things like that we want in the house. Like I think that I would like a house with a lot more kitchen counter space than we have right now, or and he wants to have a man cave in the basement. And I'm like, so we can watch football or hockey down there. I would like to have an area for my home gym. Like, that isn't the garage. So,
and honestly, like it's funny with the garage. It's funny how you find things that, so the big one for Kyle is we have a tandem garage, which we're lucky that we have a garage that 2 cars can fit into. It just is a little inconvenient because if you aren't, one has to back out to let the other person move their car, or you end up just driving the other person's car if it's just easier. But I will say his big thing is if we ever move or when we move, whatever, he really just wants a 2-stall garage, just so that way we are out of each other's way. We don't have to do this whole finagling of whose car goes where. But I will say the fact that we have a tandem garage in our area and the fact that we can put both of our cars, especially, so we had that weird, severe thunderstorm in the middle of October.
Oh, yeah.
Which is just... Climate change isn't real.
Right.
Anyway, excuse me. Don't know where that came from. No, so we had that storm on Sunday night, and like we live in an area with big old trees. So like branches break quite a bit. You know, you do your best with trying to get them trimmed, but it's just inevitable. And thankfully we can move both of our cars into the garage, so we don't have to worry about that or hail or whatever else. But I get it. It would be nice. I'm currently driving his car because I didn't want to have to move his to get mine. So I'm like, I'm just driving yours.
And I think that the process of looking for a house is fun and all that. It's just like when you're doing both, it kind of sucks. Like, I'm not going to lie. It really sucks.
It honestly, I think the process of moving stresses me more than anything else. Like, I feel like at some point we will need a bigger house. Our house is really designed well for just us.
Right.
If we ever get to a point where we decide to start a family, our house is not really, which is amazing. I want to just take a moment to appreciate every person who lived in our house when it was built. Our house was built in the early 1930s.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I just keep kicking this table. When the house was built, like this was multi-children home.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom. They didn't use the attic for anything. The basement wasn't finished. So you're talking 1 level, and that's where they all lived. And so I sit here and talk about, we don't have any room. We don't have any space.
Right.
I mean, reality, we do. But it's just, it's interesting for me to like look at my neighbors who have made it work by either like renovating pieces of their basements or like in our case, they renovated the attic area into like a master suite. Now I'm having a moment. This just came to me. When we talked about you moving initially, my neighbor across the street sent me a message and basically said, stop talking about moving, because we're very lucky to have really good neighbors.
I actually wrote that down on this piece of paper because the neighborhood matters.
Yes.
Your neighbors matter.
Your neighbors do matter.
I never thought, like before I moved in to Brian's house, like that I would ever be a neighbor person.
No, I
thought it was weird.
But we just have really good neighbors.
Right. But now we're like friends with our neighbors. Like we've planned trips out of town. Like we went to Las Vegas with some of our neighbors to go to a hockey game. Like we are always like, so if we're going to be out of town for a couple days, somebody will watch our dog.
Right.
Or so that we don't have to kennel him for that long. Or if somebody else is out of town, like I let their dog out while they were off doing other things. Like I'm going to miss the neighborhood a lot. And like, it's one of those neighborhoods that it's rare to have that. And I'm like bummed, but hopefully
you'll stay friends.
Well, And I think that like you can make your neighborhood.
Yes.
You know, like if you change and like I don't know what I'm trying to say here. Like if we wanted to hang out in our driveway and other people in the neighborhood didn't typically do that, but maybe they had wanted to, but no one else was doing it, then we can start a trend or something. I don't know.
Yeah, Kyle always gives me a hard time and makes fun of me as I'm kind of I don't go out of my way to introduce myself to people, which is funny when you think about my job, because people are always like, oh, you're so outgoing, you talk a lot, blah, 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 blah. The thing you have to realize is like, that's my job.
Right.
And also I talk a lot to people that I'm comfortable with, the people that I know. I'm actually a true introvert. So for me, like to do things, I have to like hype myself up.
Yeah.
It is a process of like, all right, we got it. All right. So I'm not like an overly like, hey-o neighbors, like,
right.
But I will say what did happen is so I've brought it up a few times now on each episode, but we were in a serious car accident. Three of our neighbors actually quite literally, and I'm truly using the word literally correctly here, quite literally saved our lives. So we got to know our neighbors through that. We had already known like our neighbors across the street next to us. But I would say in the last couple of years, we've gotten to know our neighbors better. Yeah. Just because we've had this like shared life experience, and that kind of changes things. Yeah. But I mean, we're just very fortunate. We have neighbors who go out of their way to just make us feel special, and hopefully we do the same for them. But like our neighbor across the street brought us some Sweet Magnolias, which is one of my favorite bakeries in Omaha, for my birthday on Saturday. They just brought some Sweet Magnolias
Happy
over.
Birthday.
Thank you. I feel the same. But yeah, so it was just, it's things like that where we're very, very lucky. We're very fortunate. So to Cassie, if she's listening, I have no plans on moving anytime soon, but if we ever do, I just want to give you a heads up that you're probably coming with us. So just pack your bags. We're going.
That's like we always do probably a couple times a year. Like we started doing a chili cook-off in the neighborhood.
Ooh.
One year it was like chicken chili, like who could make the best chicken chili. Like last year it was who could make the spiciest, which was a terrible idea.
I see. I would love that, although people would probably abuse it.
But my husband and our one neighbor went all basically in. Like who can we murder like with this chili, or we'll do like a potluck. And every year around Christmas time, our one neighbor brings us like 3 plates full of like goodies and stuff. Like you don't find that. And if you have it, I wish we could literally just like legitimately literally knock our house down and rebuild it.
Yes.
Because all we're wanting is more space.
Yeah.
It just, when you got a big ass dog, 2 adults and a teenager, our house is fine, but
it gets tight very quickly.
Yeah, it does. And you don't realize how much crap you have. Oh my goodness. And then when you move to a bigger house, you acquire more crap. Why?
I don't know.
I just want to like throw all the stuff that is already out of the house for staging purposes away.
Yeah. I'm kind of having a little bit of anxiety right now about the fact that, so I do this every off season. I'm like, okay, here's all these things I want to accomplish. I want to go through. So I have a lot of clothes. I have a lot of shoes. I have a lot of things because I like clothes and fashion. So every year I try to do a good job, not well, of cleaning through things, getting rid of stuff. And I did do some of it, but I've done the cleaning out. Now we need to actually get the items to donate. And there's this one room in our basement where I have a lot of things that I've either listed for like Poshmark, which I sell some clothes, or I just need to go through and determine doesn't need to be donated or whatever. I have these like amazing ideas every off season where I'm like, okay, I'm going to do all of this stuff. And you know what? I've had an extra 2 months of the off season, and I'm now like less than 2 weeks away from the season. And I'm like, wow, where did the time go? What did I just, so if you wonder how the next like week and a half of my life is going to be, it's going to be wondering, how did I get here? And why didn't I take better use of this time that I every year say I'm going to make better use of this time, and I never do.
I honestly don't think that if we weren't moving, I would have done the list. Like I wouldn't have gone through my stepson's room and like made him get like, you haven't touched that toy in 5 years. I think you can let it go. Like it needs to be donated. Some other kid can play with it.
Yeah.
Or like going through my closet. I'm a sentimental person.
I am too.
So any t-shirt I've ever gotten working in this business, I have all of them. I have an entire gigantic bag full of, speaking of, if anyone knows how to quilt, I would like a t-shirt quilt.
T-shirt quilts
made out of all of the shirts that I have acquired by being in this business.
Well, and see, I come from, I was in Delta Gamma. That was my sorority in college. And they like scared us half to death that we are not allowed to donate. Like it's like against the law, apparently. If like somebody who isn't a Delta Gamma ends up wearing Delta Gamma letters, so God forbid you donate anything. Yeah. But like I get it, when you're 18 to 22 years old, you're willing to scare the crud out of each other for that sake, like for the sake of like, don't do it, because if somebody notices, right, it's going to like the whole house is going to just fall apart. I don't think that's quite so true anymore, but it's definitely like still with like, I have like that, like I get like, I'm like, well, I can't donate this shirt because if I donate the shirt and somebody who isn't a Delta Gamma picks it up and decides to wear the letters, like everything. The whole organization is going to go up in flames and like, it'll be my fault. They'll point at me and be like, Erin Sorensen, she did this. It's funny how we traumatize each other with this kind of stuff, but that's my fear. So I have things like from Delta Gamma where I'm like, I don't need this t-shirt from the 2007 Anchor Games, but I'm afraid because that t-shirt has a teeny little like DG symbol that I'm like, God forbid someone picks that up at Goodwill and then Delta Gamma somehow tracks it back to me, which if Delta Gamma is listening, I am legally obligated to say I have no intention on donating any items.
It's not my fault.
It's not my fault.
I don't know why I do that. Like I was, when I was going through everything, I was like, I literally, here we are on the literal train. I legitimately never wore most of the shirts that I'm holding on to, but I don't want to get rid of them because each one of them has a different story. Like the amount of Triple B t-shirts that I have for over the years. Like I have one when Cutler was still playing for the Broncos.
Oh, wow.
That's how long I've been holding on to these. Like, it's been a while.
I have shirts from like previous jobs you've been at. And I'm like, I'm never going to wear this again. But why do I have this? But then again, I'm like, it's going to end up at, somewhere. Someone's going to stumble upon it and be like, who? Like, okay, let me give an example. Nebraska basketball a couple of years ago made these t-shirts that said hate will never win. I have one. I love this t-shirt. It's one of my favorite shirts that I own. And they were designed around, at the time, there was a student on campus at Nebraska who was kind of, I don't even remember the exact specifics, but he was saying in kind of, I know that the things that he was sharing was racist. So we'll just call it there. Yeah. And he was doing so in a way that it made other students feel unsafe. Nebraska didn't do anything about it because of free speech, which then became a whole thing about is hate speech free speech and is hate speech protected, but that is a totally different conversation. But it ultimately resulted in the basketball team taking a stand and saying, we're not okay with this. They made these shirts, hate will never win. I love my shirt. Somebody found one at a thrift shop in Lincoln. And like, they love it. They were glad to find it. But I'm like, see, that's hard for me. Cause I'm like, that was like, why did that shirt end up? And I'm sure it was just something where someone's like, I'm not wearing it enough or whatever. I'm just going to, or maybe it even inadvertently got donated for all we know. Yeah. But I'm like, that's the stuff where I'm like, some of them, and I don't feel this way about the 2007 Anchor Games t-shirt. Right. There are some things where I'm like, I probably would have a hard time ever getting rid of that shirt because of the significant value behind it. And I don't mean value in like the cost of the item, but just like knowing what went into it and what it meant. Yeah. But that's probably just a thing that like it's just a thing that is my own brain. Yeah. Because there are other people listening who are like, it's just a t-shirt. It doesn't mean anything. But it like symbolizes so much more. Right.
The events that occurred around these t-shirts is the point. Like that's why they're held on to.
Yeah. Like every half marathon I've run, I don't wear a lot of those shirts, but like,
right.
I'm like, I don't want to give
I'm never
this away.
going to wear any of those.
The person who would find that at the thrift store didn't put the work in for
right.
this t-shirt.
Exactly.
Gosh. No, I just, I say that, like I said, I say that every year where I'm like, I'm going to be better in this off season, but here we are a week and a half from presumably Big Ten football. I mean, some people have like really just switched into the mode that like this thing is happening. This train is on the tracks and it absolutely cannot fall off. And I'm going to tell you right now, until that football is kicked off on Saturday, October 24th, I trust nothing.
Same.
But at the same time,
with all the issues that the NFL is having right now,
there's
like,
a Tuesday night game.
You think they're going to be able to play all of their games?
There's no way. There's no way that the Big Ten is playing every single game because no one else has played every single game.
Exactly.
We just saw Baylor and Oklahoma State have to postpone their game, and I think they postponed to December 12th, and now the Big 12 is saying, well, that's fine because we had previously said our championship game would either be the 12th or the 19th. Mm-hmm. But see, the thing is like the reason that this is all so weird. This year is just whatever it is.
Yeah.
The reason it's all so weird is the 19th is literally the last possible day that you can hold a championship before the decisions are made about the college football playoffs and who's going to be seated where. So everyone is basically like, you got to make it happen before then.
Well, here's my, and this is probably unpopular opinion, but whatever, I don't really care.
Opinion.
Why even, in my opinion, have a college football playoff championship anything this year? It's all going to have an asterisk by it. Mm-hmm. How could it not? I don't, like, why even I feel like that puts an unnecessary pressure to get these games in because somebody wants the title, right? Mm-hmm. But why put that unnecessary pressure? If the games are able to be played safely, cool. Right. Awesome. Just postpone it. I don't know. Like, just don't have one this year. Like, I don't.
The thing that this has done for me is it has highlighted we all love sports. Most people, I shouldn't say everyone. Some of you don't like sports, and that's fine. Your lives are less stressful. Yeah. They're stressed by other things that have not that are not related to sports. But it has shown what sports have become in the sense of there's so much money wrapped up into them, and we're seeing the implication that universities are facing without sports. And I want to be clear on this. I'm not telling people don't support sports. I'm just saying, like, we got to maybe think about how to do this where it's not a if it
do or die.
Yes.
And I hate to use that phrasing given everything that's going on, but you know what I mean.
I know. Yeah. I think we've gotten ourselves to oh my gosh. This episode is just Erin kicking things.
This episode brought to you by kicking.
Just kicking. And I'm not even intentionally doing it. I'm just trying to get comfortable. No, it's just so tough because I get it. Like, we talked about this last week. Mm-hmm. So if you haven't listened to the episode on, the episode title is It's Okay Not to Be Okay. And it's all about mental health. And like, the thing is like, I get where people are coming from. And I actually had a conversation since that episode with somebody completely unrelated where they just feel like my fall has been not normal. I don't feel like myself. I miss this thing. Yeah. And I get it. I get where people are coming from because these are the things that like provide us an outlet. Mm-hmm. Totally get it. But we also like, I feel have gotten ourselves to a point where we have no way to adapt. We have no way to kind of like, if I hope in our lifetime, we don't have to face another pandemic. But if we do, we should hypothetically be more prepared. Yeah. Or at least know how to handle it. And I feel like we're still kind of grasping at straws. Yeah. And I'm not just talking about like the actual like handling of the pandemic. I'm talking about in sports general, specifically when we're talking about why don't we have an idea of like. Right. Anyway, I keep saying that we need to have this. We could have talked. I thought about it. And then I was like, I'm not ready for it. We do need to talk about name, image, and likeness and how this could have completely changed this discussion at some point. I'm not ready for it yet.
Okay. All right.
Maybe next week. I have a lot of opinions on name, image, likeness, and how if they would have just allowed players to get, if players were getting paid right now, this would all have been a moot point. An issue. Yeah, you'd put them in a bubble. You could ask them to do things, and you'd call it a day.
Yep.
And yet here we are.
Okay.
Because we don't want to we don't want to ruin amateurism.
Okay. Period. Okay. Period. That's what I have to say about that.
Amateurism. Like, come on. Yeah. I mean, come on.
Get out of here.
Can I?
If you're a school that has in this case, we are specifically talking about football, and you're so reliant as a university on football bringing in that revenue stream for your school, amateurism can, I'm going to bleep myself off.
Oh, amazing.
Honestly.
I can't wait to hear you bleep that.
Honestly.
No, the thing with amateurism is like, there's this idea that like it will ruin what college sports are supposed to be.
They've way evolved past that a long time ago.
I mean, is it really that big of it? Like, I understand that there's some hesitation.
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
And there's a lot of moving parts there too, and I understand that, but put a freaking plan together already.
Yeah. Well, I haven't read it yet, but I saw that there was a new proposal within around name, image, and likeness. And the thing is like, I really enjoy a lot of people who don't actually know how to use social media themselves making suggestions on how to profit off of these things. I don't know, maybe call in like a 22-year-old and be like, hey, how would this work to you? Maybe that's not how it works, but let's get your feedback on this. Because here's the thing. I talk to people 10 years younger than me and learn things constantly where I'm like, oh my gosh, like I just wouldn't have ever thought of it like that. So it's just funny that like we have a lot of people who, again, don't actively know how to or choose to use social media to their benefit. They're the ones who are trying to wrap their heads around this, or they weren't an athlete. So
right, yeah.
When we talk about representation, here's the thing. I can't speak to being a student athlete because I have never been one. I can talk to a student athlete and ask them, hey, what's your experience like? And then I can go report that to you and tell you. Right. But I am not the person that should be making that decision entirely for them because I don't have that personal experience.
Right.
But it's one of those things where I think we just are so afraid of what it will be that we're so hesitant. And I use the greater we. I don't care at all. I'm like, open the floodgates. Right. I'm all for it.
Yeah.
But I think too many people are just afraid of what will happen that they're not willing to like just kind of try.
Right.
But there's so many things that we've tried and like you figure out, you fumble your way through, and it might not be perfect at first, but come on.
It can't. I feel like anything is more progressive than what it currently is.
Yeah, and if you're going to come to me, see, this is why we have to do this another episode, because I've got a lot of opinions. Because I was going to say, like, if you're somebody who's going to come to me and be like, but Erin, what about the offensive lineman that's not going to make as much money as the quarterback?
They know that.
They know that. That's what happens. That's what
happens in the NFL.
In the NFL, yes. Now, I do want to point this out. Spare me on that stuff, because we would not have gotten through an episode without me talking about TikTok. So let me just say something really quick. So you have a Nebraska walk-on by the name of Elliott Brown, excuse me. His father was a former Husker. He's so proud to be a Husker. He received some heat over the summer because he uploaded a video of him in his practice jersey, pulled up, kind of tight, showing off his abs. I mean, he's 18. This is called
being
attention
an 18-year-old
seeking.
yes.
Like, it's fine. He apparently was or was not dating JoJo Siwa, which, if you don't know who she is, if you have little kids, girls and boys, they know who she is. But it doesn't matter. I don't want to hear it, because so many people were like, oh, he's making Nebraska look bad. And so many people were like, she sucks. Here's the thing.
Spare me.
She's making so much money. I can't talk poorly about her because she is making so much money. And let me say it for the fourth time. She's making so much money.
Yeah.
Here's the thing about Elliott. Elliott has also figured this out, that he can use TikTok to his advantage. So here is a walk-on at Nebraska who you might be like, oh, well, he won't get any money with the name, image, likeness stuff. He'll probably get more money than a lot of his teammates who play more than him. Because you know what he's done? He's figured out how to use social media to his advantage.
Exactly.
This is the thing. You're giving them the ability to use the tools in front of them to however they choose to.
Exactly.
So if I'm Adrian Martinez and I'm like, you know what? I don't really want to have to do this myself. Maybe he goes out and hires an agent and he does like the bare minimum that needs to get some money coming in the door. Maybe Elliot goes out and hustles very differently. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's up to them.
They have the opportunity to do so. Oh. That's the point.
Now, I will tell you what's funny about bringing up TikTok. I just have to share.
I've never used TikTok.
Oh, I'll start sending you videos, which you don't need an account to look at. No, there's some good ones.
I know there's some funny ones. I have seen some really funny ones, but I can't.
I love TikTok. Although somehow my algorithm yesterday... So the algorithm like tries to figure out like what you're into. So I get a lot of like dogs. I was kind of in like a lot of cooking videos. Like it just ebbs and flows. The latest one, and I'm not quite sure how I got here. I have no idea how I got here. Is NFL and college football players and their girlfriends who have shared accounts.
That's
weird. It's let me just put it this way. It's actually fairly heartwarming in some cases because I'm like, oh, wow, you guys really like each other. Like, this is like, not that like you wouldn't, but
right.
There's some like really funny and fun ones where like, for instance, one of the couples, I think he's on the Steelers practice squad. I didn't look closely enough. But anyway, somebody commented and said like she's only with you because she's trying to take your money. She's a gold digger. So they made fun of it where he's reading the comment in the video and she walks in from the background holding a stack of cash, sees him and just like freaks out and like throws it and runs away. And I'm like, all right, that was pretty entertaining. Yeah. But like I have found myself in a really weird subset of TikTok right now, and I don't know why or how I got here, but congratulations to all of you happy couples like that are dating football players and are making it work. I don't know. Right? I'm just like, this is the weirdest like group of like it's so strange. So strange. But
I'm like, I feel old.
Don't.
Sometimes.
I feel like, old constantly.
And this year I turned closer to 40 than 30. And so I'm like, this struggle of, I feel like sometimes is real. And then I watch the news like an, older.
Like an old.
Like an old. And then the reason I never so I thought about getting TikTok just because I wanted to watch, like there are some really funny videos. But then the news was like, they steal all your information. And then I'm like, yeah, but my phone's listening to me anyway, so screw it. But then I never got it.
Take my information, TikTok.
Right, you can have
just have it. Like honestly, if you'd like to read my mentions, like cool. I love it. No, it's the thing that's
entertaining.
Yes.
Right?
And actually I just opened TikTok and now I'm gonna have to send this one to Derek. So Derek Peterson, who is one of our colleagues, he co-hosts with himself. He hosts the Varsity Club podcast, and he sends me TikToks and I send him back TikToks, and it's like my favorite thing. And I just am going to send him this one because it's very good.
Perfect.
Yeah, he's my TikTok solidarity
buddy.
We're in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the thing is, if you were to ask me like, how does somebody, how does the algorithm work for you on TikTok?
No idea.
Good freaking question. I have no idea. But anyway, I have found apparently have learned a lot about these football players and their significant others. And I don't know how long I'll be on this TikTok, so I'll check in next week, let you know how everyone's doing. But yeah, I thankfully I just logged on and I have a dog video. That's more
sweet.
That's more
actually
like my thing.
Dan Hoppin came in the other day. Mm-hmm. He was like, I have to say thank you for the quality dog content on Instagram. I'm like, dude, I post about my dog every single day. Like every day. He's so damn cute. I can't stand it.
He is cute. I am like, so I've always thought I would say Jax and Scout they're about 50 pounds. I'd say that's about as much as I can handle.
Yeah.
But
130, buddy. 130. And he's only a year, so Great Danes don't typically stop growing until 2 years.
Oh my gosh.
But I think he's kind of a runt, so he's not going to get much bigger.
Our next door
he's
neighbor.
kind of a head though. I probably have to bleep that too.
At this point, what even is this podcast? Title it. What even is this?
What even are we doing?
What are we doing? No, our next door neighbor has a big, gosh, what kind of dog is it? It looks like a husky. It's not an Alaskan Malamute. It's an Alaskan husky type dog. Show me
a
dogs.
chow?
Not a Siberian husky. Maybe I'll just like stay tuned. Actually, is it an Alaskan Malamute? Yes, it's an Alaskan Malamute. The one I said it's not. Yeah. So it's like 100 pounds.
Yeah.
But its coat is huge.
Yeah.
So
Fluffy.
it's a big dog.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been like trying to train our dogs together, and our dog trainer is a little uneasy around their dog just because of how big she is, but she's totally fine. She's super cool.
One of Brian's family members has a Bernese mountain dog.
Ooh.
They look like bears, basically. Mm-hmm. The dumbest dog. He's super cute. Actually, that was the first dog that Mario ever played with. Mario Lemieux, not Luigi. Mario Lemieux, people.
But I do love that your dog's name is Mario. That's the other funny thing about TikTok is hearing people's names for their dogs, because they're always like Duck, or it's like something random, or it's like just like Greg.
Yeah, I love people names for pets.
Yes. Oh,
Larry.
We have a friend whose dog is named Kevin.
That's amazing.
And I just like love where I'm just like imagining him in their home being like, Kevin. No, Kevin, stop it. Because Kevin is I think a Bernese mountain dog. Yeah. So big old, just dumb dog. Yeah. There are some dogs that are just not smart.
Yeah. I have one. He is so cute. You know what? The thing that pisses me off though is that he's actually really smart. He figures things out and learns really quickly. Mm-hmm. He's just an asshole. He's just a jerk. Mm-hmm. He just doesn't like. Well, he's a puppy. I guess I'll put it that way.
They might just always remain jerks because Jax is 9.5-ish.
Yeah,
and he's the sweetest dog, but he also just doesn't listen. He does whatever he wants. He doesn't care what you're asking him to do.
Yep.
We were at the dog park and we're trying to train Scout because she's still able to be trained.
Yeah.
Jax is a well-loved dog and very undertrained. I didn't do a very good job with him. And we were at the dog park, and our trainer's trying to teach us, like, when you're ready to leave, you just walk toward the gate, and the expectation is they should follow. And I'm like, Jax doesn't do that. Jax sees you, and he's like, all right, cool.
Bye.
See you never. And so he starts running to the other side of the park. And so I went to go get him, and our dog trainer's like, are you seriously going to go get him? Like, don't do that. Just start walking away. I'm like, he'll literally not come.
He'll
like,
leave.
He'll just be like, that's cool. I'll stay here and you can come back never.
Right.
So he's like, have you ever left him? And I was like, no, because he won't care. I was like, I need you to understand.
Like a cat.
He just doesn't care.
Yeah.
So sometimes that's just how they are.
Yeah.
Just sometimes how they are.
Mario has gotten to the point now where, okay, so I took him to the doggy daycare for the first time the other day. And he's a new guy there. He'd never been there before. And so when he got there, he is cornered by all of the dogs there. And he has this look that he gives you when he's just like bewildered and overwhelmed. And you can walk up to the front gate and then you can see your dog. And he like runs up to that front gate and he's staring at me. His eyes are just like huge, like, what? Why are you leaving me here? But I have found that when I will turn to walk away to get him, because we typically will kennel him, otherwise he'll eat our entire house when we leave.
Which is not good when you're trying to sell it.
No, it is not. But now I'll just say bye and I'll walk downstairs towards the kennel, and normally he'll like run back upstairs, and now he's like, okay, I guess I'll go in there. And he'll just go in and do what he's supposed to sometimes. Sometimes.
We've worked Scout out of her kennel, mostly because she was just sitting there for hours and just bark. But we were afraid. I was mostly afraid that because she has eaten things and gotten into things. Mm-hmm. She's not doing that anymore, which is good. But she just now sits outside of her kennel and barks.
Yeah.
And like I had this idea that like her and Jax would like sit and snuggle and like be great with each other, and like Jax just sleeps and Scout barks.
Yeah.
It's just great. I love it. Just love that.
Yeah. Dogs are awesome.
They are.
They suck sometimes, but they're awesome because they're cute and cuddly and all that good stuff.
Well, here's what I would say. If you are somebody listening to this podcast and you're like, what should I do this week? Go find TikToks, Instagram videos, stories, doesn't matter, and send them to us if they are of a dog.
Yes.
Or it can be of a cat too. Actually, I do follow an account on TikTok of Max, Coconut, and Shrimp. So Coconut and Shrimp are cats. Max is their owner.
Okay.
And I love that he named his cats Coconut Shrimp, but he doesn't say shrimp. He says shrimp, and shrimp gets into a lot of trouble. So it can be of cats too. Like I'm totally cool if it's of cats, but it has to be like a good cat video.
Yeah.
Like, don't send me something terrifying.
Yeah.
I don't need that.
Don't send mean cats. Don't send the cat from Pet Cemetery. Okay. Definitely not that.
Yeah.
Dogs always.
Although
Cool cats.
Brandon Vogel did make a comment because obviously the promotion is underway that you can get a cardboard cutout in the stadium for Nebraska football games, and you are allowed to upload a photo of your pet. Derek Peterson did a story he did a column on, here are the 10 things that would be the coolest to see in the stadium.
Yeah.
And Brandon pointed out that while a dog is great, he wants to see the like random football player that's really proud of their cat.
Yeah.
And is like, I need to have my cat in the stadium. And it's a good point. I was only able to find one example of a cat has a cardboard cutout at a baseball game.
Yeah.
So if you're somebody who's like, I'm thinking about, purchasing one of the packages, if you have a cat, like maybe this is your moment. This is your time to shine.
Yep.
Because every camera is going to hone in on that cat.
Yes.
Because it'll be like, oh, look at the cat.
Your cat Dave is now famous.
Right. Dave the cat will be the star of the show. People won't care about Nebraska football. They'll just care about Dave. So please, somebody do it.
Yes.
Do it.
Yes.
I am actually very excited to see all of the different cardboard cutouts.
Yeah,
which
that would be cool.
I know, like, it's kind of like some people are like, oh, get off my lawn about it. And honestly, I get it. It's a little whatever. But like, I think it's so entertaining to see. Like, my favorite was LSU, when their person that was like handling their promo for it opens the very first box, and out is this dog sitting on its like back. It's kind of like sitting like propped up against a couch with its LSU shirt and hat on, and it's just like everything is hanging out, and it's just like chilling. And he tweeted it and was like, well, this is gonna be fun.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to see all of the insanity some people come up with.
Oh yeah.
Although the rules are a little strict, like you can't have curse words or whatever, but like you can have some fun, I assume.
I think that's kind of the point.
Yeah,
hopefully.
you want some randomness that, like, when ESPN or Fox Sports or the Big Ten Network is panning the crowd, they're like, look at this, look at Dave.
Dave the cat strikes again.
I need to have a conversation with someone at Nebraska about making this happen. It can be Bo Pelini's cat, which wasn't his cat. It was technically Ethan Rowley, who
still.
I hope
that was
Rowley.
Like,
Did I say
loved
that wrong?
That picture.
I know. This is where I've been in the off season. So if we need to talk about why we need sports, I have accomplished nothing that I accomplished nothing I planned to accomplish. Our house is in no better shape than it was when the season ended previously. And we've had a pandemic and I haven't had to go anywhere. So you'd think I would have done something, but I didn't. I have gotten looped into multiple rabbit holes, including so many apparently in TikTok. Where did my brain just go?
I don't know.
Anyway, I got
the rabbit hole in TikTok.
Oh no. I had another thing that happened. It doesn't matter. Nothing matters. This is where we're at. I actually need to get back into like game day like mode. I thought about this a little bit. Like I am just like not mentally prepared for this.
Yeah. Well, it's been rough, man. I think what we should do for our little our weekly thing that we challenge people to do, send us pictures of your animals.
Yes.
To the email.
You can email us at mindyourownpodcast@hillvarsity.com, which, by the way, thank you to so many of you who've been using the email.
Yeah.
It's been really awesome. To one individual, he had emailed us last week previously about our episode on mental health. And he did say if at ever in the future we want to share his story, we can. And maybe we will at some point, like do an episode where we share some of your stories. But he is also a postal worker. And I told him this, I want to say this. Thank you for what you do.
Yes.
Postal workers are heroes. We really appreciate you delivering the mail despite all of the challenges against you right now.
Yes, thank you.
So thank you to him. But yes, all of you who have sent us emails about other things, take a moment and send us a photo of
pets.
Just your pet.
Let's find Dave the cat.
I swear if my friend Ryan is listening to this and he sends me a photo of the LSU tiger because he calls that his pet.
I think you can guarantee yourself that probably at this
I'm
point.
like already rolling my eyes, pre-rolling my eyes. But yeah, you can send that to us at mindyourownpodcast@hailvarsity.com. You can tweet at me. I'm at Erin Sorensen. She's at
Sausha72.
Yes. And I mean, this is the thing. I was trying to think coming into this podcast, which I'm surprised, like, okay, for the record, all of you listening, we asked last week if there would be any feedback, and like the feedback has mostly been so far like, love it, and so great. Like, that's amazing. But if you have like preferences on like, if you think like we are going too long, if you'd like more, don't tell me less because that will make me sad.
Yeah. Should we do 2 30s in a week?
Yeah.
What do you guys want?
Let us know what you want. You can also throw that in with your animal photos. Love it. It's the best. No, you guys are very like, you're our hype people. Thank you.
Seriously.
Thank you
Awesome.
for being the ultimate hype people because I feel good every single time.
Right.
I go and like look and see just what's going on in our email inbox or see what you guys are sending us. And you make me so happy.
Thank you for your support.
Except for the person that's now going to use this and be like,
right.
I'm going to leave them hate reviews. Don't do that.
Please don't. No thanks.
No, thank you. But yeah, this is the thing. Some weeks you'll get maybe
poignant podcast, and other weeks you'll get, what the hell are we doing? Yeah. What are we talking about?
I mean, I'm still trying to figure out what I was talking about just a minute ago, and I'm going to remember like on like Friday. So I guess I'll tweet it out
this is
when
what
I
was remembering.
I'm going to listen back to this podcast and be like, oh yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's where I'm at. At least this hasn't happened in a question yet. Like at least I haven't been like, hey, Coach Frost, just skip me.
Just
actually.
kidding. Come back to me.
I don't remember. I'll circle back when my brain catches up with whatever I thought I was going to do. But well, I hope everything keeps going well with the house. Maybe we'll know by next week.
We'll have an update next week. Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah. Hopefully.
I'm excited. I'm excited to not have to go through the process, but be able to live through you.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Everyone can live vicariously through me, and I'll just carry all of the stress. I've been stress eating candy for weeks. 10 days. It's only been 10 days.
It's almost Halloween. We can't trick or treat like people. What else are you going to do?
Right.
Eat the candy for the kids.
Yeah.
I thought
almond Hershey bars. What's up?
Oh, also send us your favorite candy.
Yes.
Okay. With that, we will talk to you next Wednesday.
See ya.